And now, ever since the conclusion of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, there has been one question that's been buzzing around the community, and that's, when will we see Rick Grimes next? So in today's video, I'm just going to be giving my theories and speculation about when will we see Rick Grimes next, and when is the perfect time to have this character return. So please stay tuned. And now, before we actually get into the video, I'd like to ask you all to like, share, and subscribe. And again, thank you guys so much for the growth. Thank you guys so much for the support. I really appreciate it. And I would like to ask you all to like this video as much as you guys can. It helps a ton. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. And now, we could all agree that the ending of The Ones Who Live was fairly disappointing, but at the same time it left the door open for Rick Grimes' return in the Walking Dead universe. Of course, back then, when The Ones Who Live did conclude, there wasn't any concrete information as to if Rick Grimes is going to return or not, but in the past few months, right, you know, like with interviews with Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrera, and just some teases here and there, and some more possibilities of new spin-offs happening, it seems very possible that Rick Grimes is going to return sooner rather than later. So I'm going to go over 4 possibilities as to where Rick Grimes could return. Now, first of all, I want to get into Dead City Season 2. Now, The Walking Dead Dead City Season 2 is the next thing up in the Walking Dead universe, and of course a lot of fans are very excited for that because Negan is going back to his prime, but it's still a debate amongst fans if Rick Grimes is going to be making a cameo in Dead City Season 2. And of course, we thought that Rick was going to make a cameo in Daryl Dixon Season 2, and that's because of just all the hints and teases towards, you know, the finale being something great, which it wasn't. But I think Dead City Season 2 has more of a possibility for a Rick Grimes cameo than Daryl Dixon Season 2 did, and that's solely because it's taking place in America, and that's the only thing that's really going for it, is that it's taking place in New York, and also Rick is in America as well. So Negan and Rick crossing paths has more of a possibility than Daryl and Rick crossing paths as of right now. And of course, like, timeline is a huge factor in this, right? We are not 100% sure as to where Dead City is taking place timeline wise, but we do know that a year after the season finale of season 11, right, after the finale of The Walking Dead, Negan already did leave, right? He already left the Commonwealth with his wife, and then we just cut straight to Dead City, where Herschel is older and Negan is older, and just all of this crazy stuff has already happened. And now in season 2 of Dead City, we could clearly see that Negan is a leader again, and he's technically brought light back to New York. So a lot of development has happened there, and timeline wise, if we were to go off the fact that The Ones Who Live takes place like shortly after season 11's finale, right, like the very last scene of season 11, we could assume that during Dead City season 1 and 2, Rick has been in the Commonwealth for quite some time. And of course, Maggie being with Negan, I think that Rick's driving path to go to New York would be Maggie, of course, and not Negan. But I think Judith would also persuade Rick to go look for Negan, and Judith would tell Rick everything that Negan has done for her and for the community as well. And she explains that he's a changed man now, and he should give Negan a chance to be his ally. And now, one thing from Season 11C that a lot of people are overlooking is the train system that the Commonwealth has, right? And of course, they did show that in Season 11C, that the Commonwealth has a whole train system and they're transporting people. And a big theory from back then was that it was some sort of CRM linked to that, right? A lot of people thought that the CRM gave the Commonwealth the resources to build a train system for transportation and just transporting goods and resources. And I still do believe that the CRM did have something to do with that. And what if they brought that back, right? What if they showed the train system from the Commonwealth again? And of course, Ezekiel and Mercer are in charge of the Commonwealth now. So it is possible that Ezekiel and Mercer, they improved upon the train system of the Commonwealth, and maybe somehow, some way, they could get that to go to New York. And of course, New York is a far away from the Commonwealth, but anything is possible, right? It's been a few years gap, and they have more morally sound leaders, and they know what to do with their resources now at the Commonwealth. So it could be possible that when Rick Grimes came back to the Commonwealth, he used his knowledge from the CRM. Probably he still has some links in the CRM, and he helped improve upon the train system of the Commonwealth, and they went through New York, right? They're probably thinking about developing the train system in New York to, just for like way easier transportation, and making some deals with the communities in New York, and that's how they come across Negan, right? And we could possibly see Rick and Negan coming face to face like during this whole deal, right? Maybe Negan has some sort of fake name that he tells the Commonwealth, because he knows that a leader from the Commonwealth is coming. In his mind, it's probably Ezekiel, but then when he opens the doors, it's Rick Grimes, right? Without an arm and a prosthetic hand, right? It'd be so cool to see that moment of just shock from Negan's face, right? Just that, Rick is alive, and what happened to him throughout the years. So I think that the train system is a good way to implement the whole story of the railway system in Dead City Season 2, and to build upon that, and also to have Rick Grimes have his cameo in Dead City Season 2. But the only thing is that the Commonwealth is in Ohio and Negan is in New York, so that's about an 8-hour drive, and especially because it's the apocalypse and stuff like that, how would they build a whole railway system to New York, right? Even though it is kind of a straight passage, but still, I don't see that being a possibility. It's more of a theory, it's more of wishful thinking, and I really do hope they do something with that storyline. And I just thought that with Rick Grimes having his CRM experience, I think Rick would be the best way to to build upon that story and to have him improve upon that. But if anything, then Rick would have showed up before he makes it to the Commonwealth, because the CRM was in Philadelphia and Negan's in New York, which is way closer, right? So I don't know, but I do hope that Rick has a cameo in Dead City Season 2, because as of right now, that's the only thing that really makes sense. And now the next thing I want to talk about is The Ones Who Live having a Season 2. And now throughout the past couple of months, there have been teases and rumors towards The Ones Who Live having a Season 2, and mainly it started because of a box art, right? Like the DVD for The Ones Who Live specified that it's Season 1 of The Ones Who Live, which of course fans jumped to the conclusion, myself included, that if there's a Season 1, if they're specifying that it's a Season 1, there should be a Season 2 as well. And I think that that's still possible, right? I think The Ones Who Live having a Season 2 is very possible, and also Scott Gimple did say that never say never towards a Season 2, and that was before Season 1 even premiered, right? They did not give any concrete information as to if Season 1 was the only season, or if they're gonna make more seasons of The Ones Who Live. And I really do hope they do that, right? Because I think that The Ones Who Live had so much potential, but then they ruined it, right? Like the whole storyline with the CRM and Rick Grimes finally returning after so long. Of course, it was very nice seeing Rick Grimes again, but I was wishing for more, and a lot of other fans were hoping for more as well. So I think that The Ones Who Live having a Season 2 is very possible as well, because Rick Grimes only having a cameo in for example, Dead City Season 2 or Daryl Dixon Season 3, I think that would kind of be like a kind of a cheap way to show the character and to remind us that he's in the universe, but really not doing anything with him on his own. And I think that The Ones Who Live in general has a great potential when it comes to story, and I think that Season 2 could be about Rick returning to the Commonwealth and being the leader of the Commonwealth. Probably he's fighting for power, right? And it's a kind of a struggle, right? Because all the people, they're so used to Ezekiel and his morals, And then when Rick comes, he shows a totally different ideology, and with his experience with the CRM, he would try to make the Commonwealth like the CRM, but better, right? More morally sound. Or if the CRM is still a thing, right, maybe he could find some way to link the CRM and the Commonwealth together. And of course, we all do think that the CRM and the Commonwealth are linked together somehow, but what if Rick finds some way to contact the new head of the CRM and to have some sort of deal which is morally sound as well, right? Which is for the betterment of the people and not just with people with power, and to really make something special, make one big community that's under the CRM or just like a joint alliance. I think that would be a great story for The Ones Who Live season 2. And now the third possibility I want to talk about was Daryl Dixon's season 3. And now first of all, I want to get this out of the way, that season 2's finale was a disaster, and I think like a lot of fans do share that opinion as well, because it was hyped up so much, right? Norman Reedus did state that, it's the best thing in the Walking Dead universe to ever happen, and it's the big surprise and stuff like that, which it wasn't, right? And I think that they did have plans for a Rick Grimes cameo for season 2 of Daryl Dixon, but they just could not have it in, right? Because season 3 is also a thing, and they wanted to just keep it Daryl and Carol focused before they brought in Rick Grimes into the picture, right? And I think that in a way that's kind of smart, but again, just getting our hopes up for nothing was a huge letdown, and I think that really did bring down the hype for season 3, right? But season 3 looks fine, right? I mean, they're in Spain, it's kind of a Mad Max type of feel, and it just looks like a lot of fun, right? And I think that this is the least likely where Rick Grimes is going to appear, right? I don't think Rick is appearing in season 3 of Daryl Dixon, and that's solely because they're in Spain, right? And of course, the finale of season 2 did make me think that maybe Rick is not having a reunion with Daryl in Daryl Dixon, right? Of course, he's going to have a reunion with Daryl down the line, but I don't think Daryl Dixon is the way to go. I think Daryl should just do his own thing in Spain, and then that's where they, have that reunion down the line, right? And I think if anything were to happen Rick Grimes related in season 3 of Daryl Dixon, I think that Rick's brother might show up in Daryl Dixon season 3, and that's because Rick's brother was in the comics and he was in Spain, where Daryl Dixon season 3 is taking place. So I think we'll get references to Rick, and I think that in Daryl Dixon season 3, they're going to be mentioning Rick way more. He won't be that character that you just can't say his name anymore. He will be referenced a lot. His name will be dropped a lot, and that's because Jeff Grimes is most likely in the show, right? I do have a gut feeling that Daryl is going to run into Rick's brother, Jeff Grimes, in Spain, and maybe he has a picture of him and Rick back in the day, and that's kind of a way to show Rick's face at least in Daryl Dixon season 3. But if that's not the way that they do it, if season 3 of Daryl Dixon is the last season for Daryl Dixon as a spin-off, I think that maybe the very end, right, the finale or the post-credit scene of Daryl Dixon season 3 is going to be a Rick Grimes cameo in the Commonwealth. Maybe they do make their way to the Commonwealth, and then the final scene of Daryl Dixon season 3 is Rick and Daryl's reunion. That could be a way that they could really have Rick Grimes return. But yet again, don't get your hopes up, right? And just keep your hopes very low when it comes to Daryl Dixon season 3, because I personally don't think that Rick is going to be showing up in Daryl Dixon season 3, and it's just going to be a huge letdown again. And now the fourth possibility is a brand new spin-off, right? Because this was teased before that they are working on more spin-offs in the Walking Dead universe, and I think the number one possibility is a Commonwealth spin-off with Aaron and Gabriel. And if that takes place after The Ones Who Live, it is very likely that Rick probably has a huge part in that show. And of course, a new spin-off could mean anything, right? It could mean a crossover spin-off, right, with all of the characters together, and that's way down the line, right? That is some Avengers Endgame type of stuff. or it could mean one of the characters in the Commonwealth is getting their own spin-off, like for example Ezekiel, Mercer, right? Or some Fear character is going to get their own spin-off like Madison and Alicia. Or it could just be a full-fledged Commonwealth spin-off like how I mentioned before. And there is a lot of different ways that they could take this, right? Maybe it takes place right after the finale of season 11 of The Walking Dead, right? It just shows how Ezekiel and Mercer are running the Commonwealth and the struggles of running the Commonwealth. Or it could take place after Rick and Michonne appear at the Commonwealth, and it's more of a Ones Who Live season 2 where it follows Rick Grimes being the leader of the Commonwealth. I think that a brand new spin-off is the most likely chance that we'll get to see Rick Grimes again. And if it's a crossover spin-off, of course we'll all be happy, but that's way down the line. But yeah, that's it for today's video. I'd like to ask you all to like, share, and subscribe. And again, thank you guys so much for the growth. Thank you guys so much for the support. I really appreciate it. And I'd like to ask you all to like this video as much as you guys can. It helps a ton. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys so much for watching.